Well, hello everyone. Welcome here. Hey Nathan.
Thank you.
Oh boy, something always happens when I stream you in. Um, your video kind of gets a little cut off there. Okay. Hey, how's it going this morning, Nathan?
Good, good.
It's great.
Excited to chat.
Yeah, and welcome here everyone for Mythwind live stream. I don't even know what number we're on, but it's July 9th. Welcome YouTube land and Facebook group, and then also if you're tuning in late on any kind of the podcast areas, we have we kind of keep this going. And if you have questions, make sure to join our groups, whether it's Discord or Facebook or Instagram or really anywhere on the internet. You can find us. This is great. Hey Nicole, thanks for joining us today. I'm trying to think. We had a podcast, or we had the stream scheduled for last week, but Nathan was out camping, and so we just kind of pushed it ahead. So hey, sorry for missing a week. On our previous podcast, we've spoken a little bit about the kind of the different elements in Mythwind, and we've talked through the town kind of being this central area. We've talked through the kind of the different roles and how the roles are kind of unique and asymmetrical, and have their own kind of sense of progression as they help kind of feed the town, and by feed the town I mean build up the town. And this morning we want to spend some time speaking about the crafter. And I think the crafter, you know what? Let me just throw up. Oh yeah, I just threw up an image of the crafter here. I'll try to resize this so it fits well. The crafter actually kind of went through a pretty interesting evolution in our gameplay, and kind of when Nathan and I were starting the kind of the asymmetrical development, we decided to kind of like split the task. And so Nathan took designing the crafter, and I took designing the farmer. But before it was even the crafter, Nathan, maybe tell us about the origins of all of that.
I don't know if I remember that far back. I remember as far back as kind of doing the asymmetry thing. I mean, I guess before that we were looking at making a game with all farmers at
Yeah.
one point. At one point we said everyone's kind of doing a different thing and contributing to the town, which is where we're at now. And everybody does contribute to the town in the same way as far as, you know, generating coins that they will go to the town and do stuff with. But how they get there is very different. And so when I was first thinking of the crafter, my thought process was like, what are the mechanics that would reflect creating something? The crafter is constantly a skilled tradesman, and they're constantly making something.
But Nathan, even before the crafter, you had started down the pathway of building a different character.
You're gonna have to remind me. I honestly don't remember.
The builder. We had the builder originally.
Oh yeah, right, totally. Yeah. So and that's funny. I've expunged that from my mind. Like I don't recall any of the mechanics we had going, but I know that at some point we realized that we're creating a character to do something that everybody can also do. And so there was like this weird challenge of like, if the builder is not there, does is building stuff just much worse for everybody else? Or while the building is there, does everyone get a special advantage because the builder is there, so the town just builds that much faster? So there was like this weird overlap that just didn't quite work. And the crafter was kind of a good lateral move into somebody who still made something, but wasn't making something that was specific to the growth of the town. So I think that was
Yeah.
like the main shift that happened
Well,
there. It's funny, I actually totally had forgotten.
no, we even
We even
had
went down that road.
we had started down some of like the early graphic design of what the builder kind of tray mat would look like, which was super interesting. I remember.
Some of the early art, I think, was even for the builder
Yeah,
character.
yeah, exactly. We kind of had it originally positioned as the builder, but I remember we There's like kind of different stages of production of the builder, that the buildings were going to go in, and then the buildings were kind of move throughout the different stages and different interactions and all that stuff. And yeah, hey, it's just interesting because now we had this big pivot because, like you were mentioning, we wanted the town to be kind of the central unifying part, and one of the main progressions of the town is actually the building of buildings. And so
Yeah.
to give a player dedicated to the building of buildings actually really made that character feel essential. And we're like, well, that's not fun because, what if a group of people don't want to play with the builder, and they want to play with these other characters. They're going to feel that they've missed out on something by not using the builder. And so that pivot we made, I think, was pretty essential to kind of just alleviating that feeling of okay, this character is essential to any development of the game.
Well, even for future planning, like we had talked at one point about one of the roles being adventurer and a deck, and so I think that's even a good aha moment to just be like, we need to build all of our roles around unique themes and skill sets that are disparate from the town itself. But the crafter, I think we might have even had the same mechanics in place for the builder. I don't remember for sure, but I did land on doing like a bag building. Like Orleans is probably the best known one. Mm-hmm. It's the one I'm most familiar with. But I really like the idea that as the crafter is making more and more crafts, they're also the skills getting better, and the more you're kind of focusing on one kind of craft item, the more of those you're getting in your bag because you're just better at it. You're more prolific at it.
Yeah. So before you go further, first of all, hey,
sure.
Apologies that we don't have like the crafter board to show. It's coming along. It's just not in a place where we want to show it to people. Maybe walk us through what a day in the life of a crafter looks like. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, their goal every game day is either to further the crafts they're already working on, or starting a new craft they're working on. It is to perhaps sell a craft that they're working on, and if they get a craft to the point where they're totally happy with it and in sort of a finished state, then they might decide that this is a craft I want to use to boost my reputation. And having a better reputation, of course, means that when you do sell that craft, you're going to make more money from it. And also, they might also invest that time and energy they put into building crafts into furthering their skills. And in a game mechanics way, that means that in the future, they're going to get certain extra benefits when they're doing actions, kind of a thing. So everything is tied to like this, just every game day is just like cranking out these craft items. They're a machine, and the more they do it, the better the skill is, the more prolific they are. Wanted to have for the character.
Yeah, and you get this real sense, playing the crafter, and the neat thing, right? We swap back and forth, and we're involved in kind of all aspects of development, both Nathan and I. You get this sense of progression, and I guess with a lot of our roles, there is an engine building component. Kind of the more you do, the more you are able to do, and the more just kind of possibilities open up on your turn. And so it is a good feeling kind of moving up those tokens along the track, getting them a little bit better, and then, cashing out, right? Whether you're cashing out for coins so you can help get some town improvement, or you're, like you mentioned, cashing out to get skill upgrades, and how we're doing skill upgrades with the crafter. In a sense, it's a little bit like set collection. Hey, you kind of need a certain combination of skills, of finished skills, to cash them in so that you can purchase certain upgrades for your character.
Yeah, totally. So I was definitely talking in sort of broad term about the I guess thematic experience, but there are consistencies mechanically between all of the roles, and like one of them is that when you do something in town, you use a building, for example, you're going to get a certain thing as a collector, or you're going to do a certain thing as a farmer. So depending what you're doing in town is really going to ultimately decide what crafts you're working on the most. Because if I go use a building, I think you get a statue, I want to say, as a craft item you work on it. That goes in your bag. So there is that definitely that set collection component. But you can really kind of game, what you will have the most of in your bag if you really want to kind of focus on one thing. And mechanically, what happens is every turn as you're pulling 3 craft items from your bag, a worker die, you can pull out a little more that you work. And basically, every turn with the items that you've drawn, you're spending those as an action to let you do certain things. And so again, that's putting those items in the workshop, or furthering them along in the workshop, or taking or using finished craft items to boost your reputation. So yeah, there is very much a loop, and again, one of those consistencies, or very much an engine, I should say, that's the word you use. That's a good one. One of the consistencies between the roles is that you're trying to generate coins, because you can't do much in town without money. Ultimately, like that's how you're gonna contribute. So both really worked on the most right now. It is definitely a loop. An engine where you are trying to build something up and then sell your goods, so you have money, and then you can go to town and be a contributor.
Yeah, contributing citizen of the town. Yeah, it's great. Where, kind of what kind of, maybe give us a little sneak peek at some of the progression elements that the crafter experiences through the different skill upgrades. What are some ways that they can augment their abilities?
Well, it's a good question. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Right, the way it works is that and just use that same example again. You'll use a building. You'll get, I think it's a statue, and then if you've done a skill upgrade, you can actually attach it to that chain of actions that's going on. So you would, if you attached it to the use a building chain, then that'll be like a third benefit you'll get. And that benefit might allow you to draw more stuff out of your draw bag every turn, or it might allow you to add another item to your draw bag. It might mean that you can swap things on your reputation track. So you've improved your reputation on how well you're known for crafting like a statue, or stonework, I guess. You might say there's an ability here that lets me like swap places. So actually I'm much better known for doing woodwork, that kind of a thing. So basically in these instances where you can get like a bonus third action, that can be really powerful, but they're not easy to get either. They tend to take a number of craft items in order to the skill. Like you put the work in, you have perfected your ability to make these several crafts, which allows you sort of with the skill. I mean, I do love the idea. I always enjoy watching any kind of documentary or a little video of anybody who's really good at a little thing. Sometimes it's like a food truck worker, in that, and just watching like how quickly they like prepare their food and fry stuff. Like it's a really simple thing, but they've done it like for decades. They're just so fast, and they make it so good, and inevitably the presenter is so impressed by the taste of it and everything. So that perfection of skill and stuff is a really kind of interesting thing to me, and that's something that I'm hopefully trying to invoke with that.
Yeah, no, it's good, and I think it actually it gets there. Hey, everyone in streaming land, sorry if the audio quality or the video quality is rough. My computer is freaking out at the moment, and so there's limited stuff that I can do, and maybe just need to get a new computer here. Yeah, no. So I think that's really great with the crafter, and maybe kind of we'll show more of it. But anything else you want to say on the crafter? Otherwise, I would love to kind of maybe share some of the other developments that have been happening this week, Nathan.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that the goal for us is really trying to make it so it's not. I don't know. It's still an interesting character to play 5 years into the game, 5 game years.
Hmm.
Um, and so like right now, like I feel like we're pretty happy with the bones of the role, and we really just want to refine it as where we're at, continue to develop it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's in a pretty good spot. Hey, well, so this week one of our miniature painters. I'm showing up. I'm throwing up the miniatures of the. Oh man, what are we calling these? Are they the elemental sprites, Nathan? The rock dudes.
I think those are rock columns and
Oh
wood
yes,
columns we
rock
have.
rock golems. So,
Yeah.
anyways, throwing up the picture of the rock golems that are painted up, um, looking fantastic. Taylor, our painter, is kind of doing all the sprites and both the characters that we're gonna have available for our Kickstarter previews. And so just really kind of beautiful elements of the game that I think kind of make it pop. And for those who are kind of collectors or miniature painters out there, I think you guys are going to love this. Let me close that down. Cool, yeah. And I'm trying to think what else. Where have we been kind of honing in on development recently? The past couple weeks, it's been, I think, just we're trying to get a good package together for our Kickstarter prototype right now.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I think that's what's kind of what we're doing, right? So Nathan, you're honing in on the kind of the event and the adventure cards, a lot of like the emergent narrative that comes up. We're doing play testing, a lot of play testing at the moment to kind of get this package ready, and then our artists and our graphic designers are putting together kind of like the different books. The town board, working on the building tiles right now. We just had a meeting about the building tiles, looking really good, and different actions are there. And so we're kind of running in a bunch of different tracks to kind of bring us together, so that we have a great kind of package that we can send out to a handful of reviewers, ready to go for the Kickstarter.
Yeah, we're at that point where like a lot of the ideas we were whiteboarding back in April and May are now getting kind of crammed together, and we're seeing how well they work. Um, and relatively painless, actually. I mean, obviously, again, there's some refining that needs to happen, but a lot of those concepts we have worked well together so far.
Yeah, it's super cool to see it, right? Super cool to actually see the building tiles kind of get made and the town board take shape, and it's great because it goes from in our brains and on a whiteboard into actually something like significant and meaningful and real. So yeah, really excited. Well, before my computer kind of blows up and shuts down, I'm happy to keep this stream on the shorter end. Nathan, what can we be looking forward to in future weeks? I'm just putting you on the spot. In a couple weeks, I think we're going to be able to reveal a lot, hey?
Well, I think we're not too far from being able to show art for the town, which would be cool to see like the actual kind of hub of the whole experience, and also the layout of the farmer board and the crafter board. So